facts about Phantom Assassin from Dota 2 in more than 60 seconds. In Dota, Phantom Assassin also uses the Warden's hero model. In Dota All-Stars, Blur caused Mortra to become transparent to the enemy, scaling with levels and making her nearly invisible and untargetable to inexperienced players, thus her title, Phantom Assassin. This aspect of the ability is replicated to a limited degree with Blur's active component in Dota 2. Mordred's name is derived from Mordred, a character in the Arthurian legend who betrayed and fought King Arthur at the Battle of Cumlan. Coup de grace is a French term which literally means blow of mercy and refers to the killing blow of a wounded person or animal, friendly or not, to end their suffering. The phrase originates from medieval times, specifically knights. When a combatant was gravely injured in battle, duels, jousting, but not killed, a coup de grace was often, although not always, performed. Traditionally, a rondel dagger was used as this could make a small puncture in breastplate and was long enough to reach the heart. Mordred's idle animation is a typical fencing stance, with perpendicular feet, one arm extended forth and the other one folded up in the air. However, her weapon is wielded not with the extended arm, but with the arm at rest. There are treatises, at least for the Italian school of fencing, which do show an extended arm, but this is exclusively used when wielding a rapier or other single-handed thrusting swords. Mordred is featured in the Dota 2 comic The Contract. Fan of Knives is based on the Fan of Knives ability from the Warden from Warcraft 3, sharing its name and working in a similar way.
I'm an immaterial girl.
It's probably a reference to the song Material Girl performed by Madonna. Follow for more fun facts about Ursa from Dota 2 in more than 60 seconds. Ursa is the fiercest member of his tribe. He is a proud creature with a bright, strong spirit, trustworthy, a loyal ally, and defender. The males protect their land tirelessly during long winters as their mothers sleep and nurse their cubs. Ursa heard rumors of evil growing outside their homeland. He ventured out to track down its source before it could possibly harm his people. In Dota, Ulfsar's alternate name was Fuzzy Wuzzy. This is referenced in one of his spawning lines where he calls himself
Fuzzy Wuzzy returns.
In Latin, the word Ursa means bear. In Portuguese, however, it specifically refers to a female bear. Despite this, Ulfsar is clearly depicted as male both in his bio, where it is referenced to as a he, and his in-game dialogue. Ulfsar has a good relationship with Enchantress and once worked together with Dante Panlin. Ulfsar once learned from Cilia, but also tore off one of his mentor's fingers. Furry swipes may also be a reference to the Pokemon move of the same name. The move involves the target being hit multiple times, much like Ursa's skill allow him to. In a number of Ursa's voice lines, Ursa does not use his actual name, Ulfsar, in any of his responses. Lone Druid is the only one who calls him Ulfsar.
A pity. Where was the Ulfsar that took my finger?
When killing Batrider,
Batrider, I prevent forest fires.
is a reference to the 1940s anti-forest fire mascot Smokey the Bear. His death response
I join the wild spirits.
is a reference to the death response of the Ranger unit from Majesty, the Fantasy Kingdom sim.
I join the wild spirits.
Follow for more fun facts about Ogra Magi from Dota 2 in more than 60 seconds. Ogra Magi is a double-headed ogre. An ordinary ogre is supremely incapable of doing or deciding anything at all. However, once every generation or so, their race is blessed with the birth of a two-headed Ogre Magi and given the traditional name of Agron Stonebreaker. Ogre Magi has a combined brain power that puts him on par with most other single-headed creatures and graced with a divine quality known as Dumb Luck. It's as if the goddess of luck has taken Ogre Magi under her wing. And who could blame her? If left alone, their race wouldn't last that long.
There we go again.
Where?
In Dota All-Stars, Ogre Magi uses the Ogre Magi neutral creep model as well as its voice lines.
That way. No, that way. So angry. So hungry. I'm with stupid. Me too.
Ogre Magi's skills are different back then when he was introduced. These went through numerous changes until to the current ones. Fire Blast is called Firebolt. The spell uses a projectile instead of an instant cast spell. He has Lightning Shield as his second skill instead of Ignite. This spell shields the enemy unit and damages any unit around it, ally or foe. Bloodlust can't be casted on siege creeps and towers. It also came from the Ogre Magi neutral creep itself. Multicast is originally called Double Cast. All abilities are casted multiple multiple times, then giving it a chance to be casted for free, but it has increased mana cost for the additional cast. The TI9 Battle Pass chat wheel sound
Ding, mother...
refers to Ogra Magi's immortal item, Auspice of the Worldgage. At the game's final moments before the Ancient's destruction, Ogra Magi of Alliance relied on multicast to kill EG's last hero in the game, Bad Rider, and turned the game in favor of them. LD, who was the caster of the game, was shouting out of his lungs and gave the game one of the most iconic voice lines.
Ding, mother...
For reasons unknown, the Goddess of Luck tasked Agron with watching over a flock of firelarks. One such bird, Flockheart, managed to get separated from the flock and ended up being Agron's mount.
Let's go, doggy!
Follow for more. Fun facts about Windranger from Dota 2 in more than 60 seconds. Lyrale is a master archer of the wood and a favored godchild of the wind. She is from the village of Zarokina in the western forests, where her family was killed in a storm on the night of her birth. After the storm, the wind itself noticed an infant crying in the grass and lifted her into the sky and carefully puts her on a doorstep in a neighboring village. Years followed. The wind occasionally visits her to check her from a distance as she honed her skills. After years of training, she becomes a ranger that moves with blinding speed and her flurry of arrows that slaughter her enemies, becoming a force of nature herself. It's like the wind has her back in every step she makes. In Dota, Windranger was known as Aleria, the Windrunner. Aleria Windrunner is a character from the Warcraft universe. In the November 21, 2013 update, her name was changed to Windranger, likely to avoid trademark issues with Blizzard Entertainment. Windranger's current name, Lyrale, is a partial anagram of Aleria. One of the A's was replaced with the Y. During her early years of training, one of her bow skills includes an arrow with the thick ropes attached to bind any escaping targets. She learned to fire powerful arrows that cleaved even trees to reach their targets on the other side. Control over the wind, summon it to deflect incoming attacks, and call it to push enemies in the direction she wants. Windranger counts among her allies several birds of prey, including sparrowhawks, peregrine, and gilded falcons. Gilded falcons are characterized by their golden plumage, and they are found in the western forests, where they are worshipped as a sacred creature by its native people. Windranger brags that she once shot an ant off a worm's backside, but only aimed to wound. Windranger once saved a doomed forest from an unknown threat in Njord's hearth despite the overwhelming odds. For her deeds, she was blessed by a grateful spirit, and the people awarded her a golden circlet. Windranger is fond of giving inspirational speeches and pep talks.
If at first you don't succeed,
Spare me the rah-rah hero speech, okay?
Although Windranger never knew her family or people, Grimstroke suggests that she was better off not knowing them.
Trust me, Lyrale. You're better off not knowing your people.
Windranger is featured in the Dota 2 comic, A Dark Purpose Served. In a number of Windranger's unused voice lines when using the Shackle Shot skill, when the skill hits the target to a tree behind it,
I now pronounce you man and tree.
and if it's a creep,
I now pronounce you man and creep.
is a reference to a marriage pronouncement, I now pronounce you husband and wife. When the skill successfully latches on a hero,
Shish kebab.
and
Skewered.
if it fails to latch on a hero,
Lucky you. Slipped off the kebab.
is a reference to a popular meal of skewered and grilled cubes of meat called shish kebab. Follow for more. Fun facts about Techies from Dota 2 in more than 60 seconds. In Dota, Techies' original skills when he was introduced back then are: first skill, landmines. They plant a mine that deals damage when an enemy is near it and deals less when they are farther away. Second skill, stasis trap. They can plant an invisible trap that stuns nearby enemy units when detonated for a maximum of 13 seconds. Third skill, explosive shot. A passive ability which they use fire explosive bullets that adds a small amount of splash damage to their auto attacks. Fourth skill, suicide squad attack. Their ultimate blows them up that deals massive AoE damage. According to Techies, in-game lip syncing, Squee has a deeper voice and sitting on the cart with the rocket launcher and a cigar. Spleen has a high voice and the big one pushing the cart. And Spoon has the deepest sounding voice and the one inside the barrel who rarely ever talks. The gag about Spoon being hidden in a barrel without the other two knowing is a reference to Dota. Sometime after Techies were released in 2006, a user named Yordle the Turtle pointed out that there were actually 3 of them instead of 2. The third one's feet could barely be seen under the barrel behind the other 2. Techies used to be named Squee and Spleen and eventually became Squee, Spleen, and Spoon. Techies has a voice line alluding to this where Squee and Spleen think that Spoon died from the explosion in their workshop.
Spoon was in the workshop when it exploded right right?
I think so.
No, I wasn't.
You know, sometimes I can still hear his voice.
The names of the original two Techies most likely came from Magic the Gathering. Squee is a legendary goblin from Magic the Gathering lore, while Spleen was probably named after the flavor text on the Goblin Soothsayer card. I see a great victory and rivers of blood, and looks like a spleen. Squee's design resembles that of the soldier from Team Fortress 2, as his eyes are covered by a helmet and he wields what appears to be a rocket launcher. Spoon's design, long nose, revealing half of his fingers, largely resembles Kilroy, the symbol which was used by US servicemen during World War II. In a number of the Techies' voice lines,
C4
is a pun on the plastic explosive C4.
Claymore!
But not that kind of claymore.
Is a reference to the M18 Claymore mine.
Noises!
Is a reference to Briggs Hamland, a character from Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Loud noises!
We're gonna have to glue you back together.
In hell!
And
You're a sorry bunch of losers.
You said it.
are references to similar lines spoken by the Demo Man from Team Fortress 2.
Oh, they're going to have to glue you back together in hell.
And
We're a sorry bunch of losers.
many of their lines also reference Counter-Strike, such as,
Counter Techies win.
or
Bomb has been defused.
Darn.
Continue testing.
is a reference to GLaDOS, a character of Valve's Portal series.
Who said we couldn't count to 3, huh?
Is a reference to a joke about the fact that Valve has not released a single game with the number 3 in the title. Follow for more.